Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Share Your Story podcast. I'm your host, Ellie B., and I'm so glad you are tuning in today. My sister Mary Claire joins me on the mic again for a really fun episode. Although there's deep and heavy subjects to talk through, this conversation really focuses on what makes Mary Claire, Mary Claire. MC, Red, Care, whatever you prefer to call her, is my younger sister by 3 years. She's currently living in Houston, Texas, and working in sales. She's beautiful with a bright personality, committed to all things fun, extremely loyal and kind-hearted to those she loves dearly, and is always down for a happy hour, a giggle, or a hang on the couch. Mary Claire compliments and challenges me in the best ways, and I consider being her sister one of God's greatest gifts to me. I could not imagine walking through life without her, and I'm so glad you'll get to learn more about MC today. So without further delay, here's my conversation with my sister, Mary Claire. Just another L in my column for the month, the week, the year.
Heard that.
I could play the Friends theme song when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year.
Yeah, literally.
It's very applicable.
It really is. It's just,
Yes, I do know.
Nervous.
This is now your third time. You're the first person that's been on 3 times.
Wow. I never thought that was happen. Look what I did today. I took an L, shattered the back of my phone.
You did?
Like 30 minutes ago.
Wait, through the case?
Yep. It fell from my counter.
Ouch. This is what doesn't make sense, though. Like, I've gone caseless on my phone for so long and been fine. And yours has a case.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Wait, when did you get this one? It's kind of newer.
Yeah, I got this in like August.
That's so painful. Is it still under insurance where they can?
I don't know.
Although I'm not a fan of phone insurance, as we know.
I don't know. I mean, if I keep my case on, hopefully it won't be bad. My cameras didn't crack. If my camera's cracked, that would have been different. But
yeah. I think Brooks is actually cracked underneath her phone case and has been for a while. And it survived.
It's really, really tragic.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, that's why I got my phone out in the first place. To see the questions that you have prepared for me.
Yeah, but you are the actual only guest who I've allowed to see legitimate questions. Usually I only do topics.
That's so sweet. Well, I'm really glad you did because I'm not prepared for some of these questions.
I know. So for the audience listening, Mary Claire ex-nayed and said, no, we will not do certain subjects, which is fine. So today is a lighthearted get to know the sisters type of episode. Well, get to know Mary Claire more. And none of the heavy stuff right now.
So you're welcome. If anyone's listening to this at work like I usually am, you just get a fun little chit-chatting time.
Little gab time. Yeah. That's very Enneagram 7 of you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot. There's no video along with this, so no one could see me smile.
One day I do want to offer video, but I am not prepared as of this moment, as you can tell from my current outfit. 3 times. Kick it off. Do you say that on work calls?
No. But let's kick it off?
Yeah, I feel like that's a big...
No, it's normally, like you just build a little rapport, just chit-chat, and you're like, okay, well, thanks so much for joining me today. Just really want to blah, 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 blah.
Thanks for joining me. That's a good one. You were always destined for sales because I feel like you have always had the gift of gab. And then here's what I really want from you.
I don't know if I have the gift of gab, really.
In the correct situations.
Yeah. Sometimes I really hate the small talk. Sometimes there's just times I don't want to do any of it. But I will say, it's not too bad in sales. You talk a lot about the weather. Gosh, the weather here is so bad. So hot, or oh my gosh, it's been freezing these last few days. I hope everyone's staying warm. Have you seen like those corporate Natalie things? Like those are actually so true and so accurate.
She's so funny.
Like it really is very accurate.
Yeah, her recent ones where she's like in the WeWork. I think it was one that she was like your coworker that doesn't want to do anything. Or like that distracts you all day.
Oh, yeah.
That one was so good. I definitely have those kind of days.
Oh, don't we all?
Yeah, we do. She's so funny. Okay. Well, Mary Claire, to get started, thanks for joining me, as you might say.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
I want to zoom out for a second.
Zoom out. Okay.
This is the Share Your Story podcast. So when you look at your life as a whole, what are some words that you would use to describe your story? Or like, what are some things that stick out?
I don't think this is on the question sheet.
It's literally question 1. It's question 1, Mary Claire.
Okay, it is. I just guess I didn't read that
Clearly.
thoroughly. That would be something. Not reading stuff thoroughly.
That's 100% a theme of your life. Or not listening to lyrics.
Yeah.
Asking someone to repeat themselves because you weren't listening.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say fun, a little wild. I think as a kid, I was always wild. High school, I was pretty wild. I would probably started calming down more in college and post-college, maybe. Now I'm definitely a lot more tame.
And you were like
full. I feel like very like full of stuff. I hated to be bored, so I was always trying to do something.
So true.
I don't know. Full of life. That's how I would describe my life so far.
I think that's very true. I think one of your number one,
adventurous.
Yes. I would say all those characteristics. Like, I wouldn't say you're wild in the sense of like you're within the normal bounds of wild.
Yeah. Not like
grounded wild, not get arrested wild.
Yeah, grounded wild. I like that.
Yeah. Just like maybe breaking the rules, but not breaking the law.
Right. Well, I mean, drinking underage is definitely breaking the law, but that's like a normal breaking the law.
Okay, yeah. So then maybe again back to the grounded wild.
Yeah, grounded wild.
Okay. Well, one of I think your standout features, which people would say is part of your fun, loving personality, is your red hair.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like you have such a love-hate relationship with your red hair.
I really do.
There are characteristics that people say about red hair, like rebellious, temper.
Yeah. I fit the stereotype pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I love my hair because it's very different. It's very unique. But I think that's also the reason why I hate it. Like, it's just very different and very unique. Like, sometimes I don't want to be called out for my hair all the time. Like, I'm starting to love the nickname Red, but for a while there, when that became a thing, I was like, okay, I don't call you brown, I call you blonde. Like, why do you have to call me Red? But the more I've heard it, the more I've adjusted.
Start that nickname too.
Yeah, and Lucas really took it and just purely calls me Red.
Yeah,
like the other day he called me Mary Caroline because he literally doesn't call me by my name. So it has its perks, but definitely it's very unique in a good and bad way.
Yeah, it's also unique because no one else in our family has red hair.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
Yeah,
I mean, you and I look like both of us are adopted compared to the rest of mom's side, at least. Like Emma, super tan. Madeline can get super tan. Annalise, Lauren, Alex can get super tan. I mean, everyone's brown haired, dark skin.
Sam and Pablo even can get they have darker hair color. Like, I feel like all of our eyes are somewhat similar. But I remember thinking when we were little, like, you were the one who sticks out, like, oh, Mary Claire with the red hair. Yeah. And then I remember looking at a picture of our whole family and being like, I stick out just as much. Like, I'm the only blonde.
Yeah, we're pale in the wintertime. Like, it was Thanksgiving. And then we took a photo of all the cousins, and you and I are pale. You've got super blonde hair, and I have bright red hair, and everyone else looks the exact same. Blends in perfectly.
Gorgeous olive skin.
Yeah.
Dark brown hair, all of the above. But now I feel like you use it. You don't want to have anyone. You don't want to be in a relationship with anyone that has red hair either. That is like your biggest stipulation.
I have got to be the only one. I'm that special.
Do you think the uniqueness of your hair like makes you want to be unique in everything?
No.
I
mean, maybe like subconsciously, like my personality is that way, and maybe that's, like I said, I fit the stereotype pretty well of being a little feisty, a little temporary. So maybe, but it's not not super, like, that's not the top of my head.
Yeah, that's not your main motivation.
Yeah.
No, I remember when you were little, though, people used to like stop us in the grocery store and be like, "Look at your daughter's red hair."
Yeah. Where'd you get it from?
Yeah, where'd you
No
get it
one in
from?
your family has red hair?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I still get, like, everyone today still tells me, like, oh, your hair's so pretty. And it's a great compliment. I used to, back in high school, when I was a little, grounded wild, I would just say, like, I know. It sounds so conceited. I'd be like, you got beautiful hair. Like, thanks. I wouldn't even say thanks. I'd be like, I know.
You did go through that era, and you were like, "What else am I supposed to say? Thank you? Like, it is my hair. What else am I supposed to do?" That was a while. I'm glad you've come out of that, though,
Yeah,
because
so I now say thank you.
none of us could convince you otherwise. You were like, "Why would I say thanks?"
Yeah.
That's maturity and growth.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that these days,
Haven't we all? But you have.
Haven't we
As
all?
Emma mentioned, you have the greatest, like, character arc, character development.
I know. It's, like, so nice.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like, you don't really notice, it's like, I'm just thinking of, like, One Tree Hill quote, like, one day you're 16, your whole life's ahead of you. And, like, I don't actually know what the quote is, but it's like, and then you look back and that is that day or something like that.
It always comes back to One Tree Hill. Like, I knew that would somehow be looped into this.
Yeah, Google that One Tree Hill quote.
I feel like that's broad.
Okay. Well,
maybe if you search the first part of it, like one day you're 16.
Let's see, one day. It's the oldest story in the world. One day you're 17 and planning for someday. And then quietly, without you ever really noticing, someday is today. And then someday is yesterday. And this is your life.
Wow.
Nathan Scott.
Stunning. Sweet Nathan.
So, I feel like one day I was just 17 years old, living life, that grounded wildness. And then life happens. And then now I'm mature. And I look back. I'm like, wow, that one day I thought about.
And you've arrived.
Here. I'm here.
Okay, well, before we get to the you here and arrived, let's run it back a little bit. What was it like growing up as the younger sister, the youngest?
It was great. I feel like being the baby is always so much fun. You have it just easier, like, well, and I think you were an angel child. So, like, mom and dad, like, you had it hard, yes, in some ways, but also like you were just a good, sweet child that, like, I tested them a little bit more, and I don't think they knew what really to do with all that.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think there were certain things that I would be so mad that came so easier. Like, I remember the biggest one being ears piercing.
Yeah.
Like, I begged and begged and begged to get my ears pierced, and they were like, not until you're 10. And then I came home from getting them, and dad was like, Mary Claire, you should go get yours. They look great. And I was like, you're kidding me? She had 3 more years.
I waited.
No, you did. But it was like that stuff that I would get so frustrated by. But
definitely.
But I agree. We talked about this recently. We didn't have any, like, insanely strict rules or anything, or stuff that we look back on that we're like, okay, we were mad that we weren't allowed to, like, listen to that music or watch that TV show, but nothing that was extreme.
Yeah, like, we weren't allowed to watch Harry Potter. That was all the rave back then, but I wasn't allowed to watch it. So, I think we had, like, good respect for mom and dad of, like, mom knows what's best for us. So, like, I'm not allowed to watch it. And I still choose not to watch it today. I'm not allowed to watch it.
Same. That actually, someone asked me one time recently, and that was the first answer they wanted to come out of my head. And then I was like, I'm a homeowner. Like, I can't use that as
I'm a full adult. I pay taxes.
I literally pay taxes. There's no reason why that has to be my answer anymore. Yeah, no, I would say that it seems like the younger one has it easy. And I think you're right, testing the boundaries. Yeah. Or, like, but I don't think you were ever, like,
I think you also, I don't know, maybe you were more shy, or, like, you didn't want to ask mom or dad, like, you didn't want to put them in a position of, like, parenting, like, giving you the hard nose, like, and I would do something and you'd be like, that's not fair. How'd you get that? I'm like, I just asked. Like, you never asked?
Yeah. Mine would be like a full-blown PowerPoint presentation that I had been like putting together for 3 weeks and then praying about and trying to find the right time. And you're like, I literally walked up to dad while he was watching TV.
Yeah.
That's the exact same question.
Oh,
But
the
then I started
bond.
to leverage that and be like, okay, talk to mom about this for me.
Yeah,
Or
you
like,
just ask.
what do I say? Why don't you just
Yeah.
ask for us?
Yeah.
Do you
But
have
one thing I can't do, I cannot call a restaurant still to this day. I'd really prefer not to call a restaurant.
Yeah, that was always your thing. You were like, never, never, never. Not for to-go food, not for a reservation, none of
I
it.
still hate it. I literally call people, cold call. I
That's what
work in
doesn't make
I can't do
sense.
it. I just don't like it. I don't know why.
Restaurants specifically, though. Like, I
Yeah,
feel like
like
you're
it's
fine
just
at everything else.
yeah. I don't know. One of my things.
That's a part that has yet to mature. We'll get there.
Red flag. Whatever the kids are saying these days.
I don't think it's any of those. It's just random
Really?
shyness.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite stories from growing up? Or like favorite memories that you look back on and you're like, this is quintessential Mary Claire?
Oh, I don't necessarily remember the stories around it, but I love looking back at all of our old pictures and like I would walk around with my little bob. I had little bangs.
You
And
did.
I was wearing like a bikini. Bikini, like my belly was out.
You had minimum 4 outfit changes a day.
Yeah. Like I think I'll like looking back on our pictures, like I just looked like a little fun little kid. Like,
oh, you were so sassy in all the best ways. And it came out in your fashion too.
Yeah. So I love looking back on like little pictures of that. Or like the ones of you, me, Madeline, and Emma when we're all dressed up in different outfits of like a babysitter's. Like Emma was in a hot pink bikini. You and Madeline were dressed more conservatively, I think.
No, there's that one iconic photo where I'm like sitting with a tiara on my head, like in a full blown gown costume, like poised with the best posture you've ever seen. Madeline, I feel like was wearing like 3 different
probably
things. Like it was like a random t-shirt, a big skirt, and then a hat.
Yeah.
We got to find the photo.
I know. That's what you got to put on like your Instagram.
Yeah, 1000%. Because that was definitely, I remember us looking at that later. I feel like you were in a Tinkerbell costume, but like your leg was way over your head.
Yeah.
And your hair was a mess.
We definitely have those somewhere though.
Yeah. We have to have them. They're so, so cute.
Oh. Fun stories. Basketball. Like I went through phases. Like I was really sassy and cute wearing bikinis around our neighborhood. And then I turned into long shorts, basketball queen,
and
kind of tomboy, like had kind of a different gut than I did when I was cuter. Like a cute little baby belly is amazing. When you're in 5th grade and you've got a bit of a belly, like it's not cute anymore. That was a different phase in my life.
Basketball was where your personality, well, and also you have to tell the softball story of like ending the game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I still loved my pop culture. Was into sports, loved the pop culture. I think it was like I don't know if it was an important game or not, but the game had gone into so many innings and I was just so over it at whatever point. And a ball came at me at the outfield. It was just hanging in the outfield. Stuck my glove out. No, I didn't stick my glove out. I just let the ball go over me. Lost the game. And my mom was like, "Why'd you do that?" And I was like, "American Idol's on. We're already late." Priorities.
It's Carrie Underwood. We gotta go watch.
Yeah. Melinda Doolittle? Is that one of her names?
Yes.
Chris Daughtry?
Well, yes. That was the best season. Because it was Mandy on that season?
It wasn't Melinda Doolittle, was it?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like that's like a Disney movie?
Oh maybe
no.
Not.
No, it was her.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
she was great.
She was 3rd place.
She was great.
Yeah, she was great.
Chris Allen, when he did the Kanye song on guitar, that was like a core memory for me. But I remember also basketball, the amount of games we went to. And do you remember, like speaking of the redhead personality, when mom sat next to someone and you were so aggressive on the court and you were like, You'd throw hands. You were just so intense.
I think I probably slapped people. I had a temper. I still probably do.
And Mom was sitting next to someone and was like, "Oh, that girl, the one with the red hair. We do not like her. She is scary." And Mom was like, "Oh gosh, yeah." And turned her head and she was like, "Ellie, we have to go before the game ends. We have to go before the game ends," because she didn't want y'all walking up to her.
But I also was sweet. Like, I remember one basketball game, Peyton Grant and I were on different teams. I'm pretty sure it was Peyton Grant.
It was.
And we were on separate teams, but we were like both right there. And I turned around and I was like, "Oh, hey," gave her a little hug and then got back to my game.
You did.
A little sweet.
I was going to say Sour Patch Kid. First they're sour, then they're sweet.
Ann Parham was my favorite person to watch playing basketball because she would do the same thing every single time. She'd get the ball. She'd dribble down the court. She'd go left or she'd go right. She'd hug the sideline and then she'd just chuck the ball and try to get it in.
It was her play, her signature play.
Her MO.
Yeah, for everything.
So good.
Yeah. While you had your sports era, I had the sports era a little bit. I played basketball, but I was definitely heavily into the dance and gymnastics side of it.
Yeah. Like, I just think back to Mom and Dad, like, you know, basketball, softball. Ellie did dance, gymnastics, acrobat. I quit dance, like, I think first grade. I think I was only left with like one thing. I was like, I can't do this. No rhythm.
You were like, I'm out.
I'm out of here.
But tennis, you're a good dancer.
We were big tennis girls.
We were big tennis girls.
I remember Sandy being like, "Okay, listen, if you want to actually start playing, like, you got to start coming to the clinics." And I think that was my main, like, I don't want to go to the clinics. So I quit. I'm still pretty good at tennis today, but
clinics were probably on the same night as American Idol, so you
like, I don't want to play tennis with all these other losers.
No, you are still very good at tennis.
Yeah. Tennis is still the one sport I keep up with that I like.
Yeah. I would say in a lot of ways we are very opposite, but also very similar. Like I think we were always close growing up. I think being like just under 3 years apart, we overlapped enough, but not like being in the same stage all the time.
Yeah.
But I would say we were always close. Like Mom used to always be like, you know, there were seasons
we fought,
where we fought, but
obviously.
But like when we were really little, I remember her being like, Mary Claire just was like, Ellie doesn't have her own friends. Like, her friends are my friends. But that's really how we acted. Like, all those summers, like me, you, and Porter together, like it was everything we did.
You, me, Porter.
Yeah. It was always interchangeable, but like we were always so close. But then we got more, just like as you grow up, like you start fighting, you realize certain differences. What would you say are your, like, what do you think are our biggest differences from growing up? Or how do your strengths and my weaknesses like complement each other?
I would say I don't really overthink about things. I mean, obviously sometimes sure, but for the main part, it's kind of like I'll just kind of go with my gut, make a decision, go for. I like change. I like the fast pacedness of it all, and I think you're a little different in that of like you do overthink some things.
Everything.
You don't really like change. So I think where our personalities are very different, it's good for each other because you can allow me to step back and think things through. Like, even, which is great, like Emma has taught me a lot of like, I'll think saying something is nice and she's like, no, like that's such a backhanded niceness. Like you don't say stuff like that. And I'm like, oh gosh. And I feel like you and I are that way. Like, like I tell you like, oh my God, just stop thinking about it. Just make a decision. Like, just go with your gut. Which is helpful for you, but for me, it's more like, okay, take a step back and think some
slow
of this
down
through.
For a second.
Or like, I can rely on you more for like the places where like I do need to slow down and need someone to help me analyze that situation. Yeah.
It's I mentioned it a little bit and it was not until much later, but I feel like when we were younger, there were certain things like the way we, exactly what you just said, process things and do things is so different. So I feel like I used to get, and I'm significantly more feelings based or more sensitive in certain areas which again, I think is paired with the like slower versus just like quick, let's make a decision.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until later that I learned about the Enneagram, which is not everything, but like once we did that and You're a 7, which is like, let's get on to the next thing. What's our next fun? Never want to be bored. I don't want to go into the deep feelings right now. Like, unless we're doing an activity, I don't want to talk about it. Like,
Right.
and I feel like I used to get so offended of, I'm just trying to sit and talk to Mary Claire and she won't focus. She's not really listening to me. And it wasn't until I got of like, it's just, she doesn't think that way. It has nothing to do with me, or she doesn't care about me. Just in the same way that I know there were things that I was like, I just want to sit and talk, and and you're like, we have to move. We have to do something. Like, I'm just bored.
I remember like dinners when like you, me, Mom, when we would be like eating dinner, we would fix our plates and I'd be like, I would be finished with my meal, haven't said a single word, and you've taken like 2 bites and talked the entire like 30 minutes we were sitting at dinner. I'd be like, dear Lord, how much more can this girl talk? Like, we're just learning about your day. I was like, God, my day was fine. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say. Like, I just ate my meal and like probably like 7 bites, and then like sat there and listened, and you had like taken 2 bites of your meals, and Mom and I are just like, she's still talking. It's just about 4th period.
That actually is the most accurate depiction of exactly what I was just talking about, because I remember literally going like hour by hour.
Yeah. Mom would ask you, how's your day? You would give this full long thing. How was your day, Mary Claire? It was good.
Mm-hmm.
That would be it.
And that was all.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel like one time I remember her being like, I just wish you talk to me more. Like, tell me some details. And you're like, what is there to say?
Yeah.
It was good.
Laura called Em and I the other day, and Em and I are very similar in that.
Yeah.
And she was asking us questions about the conference we went to. And I was like, I think it might be better if you, or she was like, how was it? And we were just like, it's good. Like, we like it. And I was like, I think you might just have to ask us some questions, because I don't know how to tell you.
I'm not just going to bring it out before that. Yeah. No. No, I think that was the perfect example. And there were times where I think, especially later, and I think it was when I went to college, that I realized how much time I took up with just like my amount of talking or things I was going through. And I used to feel guilty about that a lot. Like, that you deserve your own time with Mom, and like you needed space to actually be you and not just me take up too much space in the conversation.
Well, then you went to college, so it was great.
Yeah. No, I would say there were like 2 major I feel like college was the biggest one, but especially when you went to Spain too. I remember like right before Spain, all of a sudden we were like, wait, we're not going to be able to talk like all the time. And I remember that being one of those key things of like, oh my gosh, wait, I'm really going to miss you.
Yeah, I think you going to college was great for our relationship. And then I also think me going to college was great in our relationship. Like, sometimes distance makes the heart go fonder, and I think that did with us.
I think so too. Not that we weren't close again, but like you just bicker when you're sisters and you're
and when you're in like not in the same life of like we're both not in high school anymore. Yeah, you know, again, like you grow, and then you learn how to have more of a relationship that's just like fighting over clothes, or like, I mean, sharing a close space with someone is also hard.
I was going to say, it's just like the forced relationship of being siblings versus, we can choose to be friends.
Yeah. Well, and Mom and Laura, great friends, sisters. Like, Mom and Ruthie, great friends, sisters. But I don't think that matured until they went to college, and it wasn't like you're forced to be friends with your sibling. Like, you actually enjoy their company.
Exactly. You kind of get out of the actual family unit, and you're like, oh, wait, I like you. Like, I like hanging out and doing stuff together. And that, I would say that's definitely true, just especially over the last few years of like, you and I have only experienced the same things. Yeah. And so it's a little bit of that too, of just like, regardless of what we're going through, there's no need to explain. Like, you're kind of rowing the same boat. Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe there's a reason why we've been single for so long, so we can have the same exact experiences.
Yeah, let's hope that's not true.
Maybe we'll get booed up at the same time.
One can pray and hope, as we do every single morning. Wait, yeah, I want to talk about that, because I feel like, and not that we have to go into the depths of faith journeys, because I know today is not that day, and this is not the podcast for that.
Okay.
Because
We
We'll
can
do
touch
that.
on some, but not the really heavy stuff.
Okay. Editor's note, Mary Claire wanted to make sure I put this question in, because I did prepare her with it. Mary Claire, what was your favorite trip that we had as kids?
You know, I really think, and I don't know why, because I don't have too many memories from it, but I really think St. Thomas was one of my favorite little family trips.
Okay.
Because
100% agreed.
because we were so excited to go, and not that St. Thomas isn't beautiful, like, it really is, but, like, I didn't realize, like, when you're a kid, like, you don't, like, and you live in, like, we have in America, like, you don't realize there's, like,
Yeah.
you land
We
in a new country and there's
hadn't ever been outside of the country.
Yeah, we've never been outside of the country, and we're like, "What is this place?" Like, the roads were so bad, like, our taxi was, like, I felt like we were probably gonna fall out of the
Fall off the
car, like
mountain.
yeah, like, we're just it was the most wild ride getting there, and then our resort obviously was so nice, the water was so beautiful, but I just have vivid memories of us, like, sitting on the beach, and I'm just like, "I'm so bored. Guys, what are we doing?" And you and Mom were like, Just relax, like, we're just hanging out." Like, I can't do that. Like, what are we doing? What activities are we gonna do? I remember us paddleboarding, and there's a god-awful photo of us paddleboarding. Again, I've got that not cute gut, and I think I, like, tried to diet the week before going on vacation, like a 6th grader, like, that's not good.
I was gonna say, I was definitely in, like, going into the 8th grade or
Yeah,
going into
I
9th
think I
grade,
was
so
going
you
into,
would've
like,
been
6th
like
grade.
yeah,
6 or 7 going into 6th or going into 7th,
probably going into 6th.
and I was dieting the week before, like,
But
that
maybe
would make
7th.
any difference of a week before being in a bathing suit.
Immediately when you said St. Thomas, I saw that photo in my head.
Yeah,
Like
that's, like, the only photo I can think of because I'm wearing those little booties. I
the
don't know why boys
booties.
wear booties to go paddleboarding, and then my
Yeah.
life jacket just looks so tight, and my stomach is just hanging out. And then going to, St. John that day, like, we went on the boat. Dad
Oh,
loved
that
the
was
Lady Lindsay
yeah,
for the hotel,
yeah.
and we saw some beautiful places snorkeling. We made some great friends in the hot tub, Tim and
Tim and
Amy.
Amy. That
Mom
was
and Dad
the
loved Tim and Amy.
he did. But do you remember, like, that was one of my favorite things was being on that boat, and we were so excited to, like, meet these people, and Mom kept asking questions because
Because Amy knew everything.
yeah, and Tim and Amy had been there so many times before. Mom was like, "What do you think that is?" And he was like, "A
A
rock."
rock. So, Mom.
So,
Oh,
oh,
right.
right, yeah.
That was such a fun trip,
That
and
was
I think
such a
too,
fun
like,
trip.
there's also a picture of us highly edited. I was wearing this I remember the dress so well. This J.
Oh,
Crew
purple.
lavender tiered
Yep.
dress, and again, I was just in such a chubby phase of my life, like, it's just
Well,
I thought
you were
those
in
photos were
that
so good.
same because the other part of it is I wanted to also be so tan, so I would, like, bump down the exposure so low to
Yeah,
look tanner that it might as well have been midnight outside, like, everything
yeah.
around it was dark except for us
So funny.
glowing in our bright dresses.
We have got to find those photos.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of, like, the best trips.
Yeah, it was so fun.
It's probably on
It
your
and
Facebook.
oh, it could be on my Instagram. No, hopefully I went through and archived a lot of those.
I was gonna say, that can't be on your Instagram.
No, I don't think it's on my Instagram anymore. I definitely have a Facebook album, but it's probably hidden.
Private, yeah.
Yeah,
I did a lot of those too.
yeah, I can send you those or post them depending on which ones I have permission on. That was so fun.
That was such a fun trip.
Yeah.
Loved our tropical vacations.
Those sandwiches were so good too. And then we went snorkeling at Trunk Bay,
Yeah.
which is one of those, like, famous beaches. I
Yeah,
saw a barracuda when I was snorkeling.
yeah, that was so we did not ever leave our resort, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was so fun, except for that day to go to St. John, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were like, "I'm so bored, I'm so bored," and Dad was like, "You can't even buy a Diet Coke, it's $12 here." And we were like, "What do" you kept asking, "What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?"
Yeah, I was like, "Can we go shopping or something?"
That's what it was, yeah.
There was like nowhere to shop.
And it was pre when you were into reading as an activity, like Hunger Games hadn't come out yet.
No, I didn't read. I didn't do anything. I was too old to like make sandcastles. Like, and I don't really even remember there being like a ton of space to swim. Like, it wasn't just. I think I was too bored to just hang out in the ocean too. Like, I should have been put in one of those kids camps.
I'm just picturing you in that life jacket, like hanging out on the ocean by yourself.
Yeah, that was such a fun little vacation.
No, you're right. That was so fun. Those memories, they're
times.
Good. Yeah, we gotta look for those photos.
Yeah, I don't know where you even find hidden albums.
I'll send you a bunch because I know I have them. They definitely exist somewhere.
They have to.
So good. Well, speaking of you're bored, that was a phrase that you said over and over to me in 2020 because that, to your credit, well, granted, no one knew what was going to happen in 2020, but especially as a college senior, the year after Mom's passing, that was a lot of things to happen at one time and not at all what you were expecting or planning.
Right.
But you came home during spring break because it got canceled.
Our trip was cut short because we were like, we're not going to be able to fly out a steamboat. Like, we had to change our flights.
Oh yeah.
Got back to Jacksonville and then never went back.
Yeah, which is so crazy.
So crazy.
Yeah, it was fun though because that summer felt like
so long
because we got to do so much together. Because I was working part-time. Part-time working adjusted, and we played like tennis in the street all the time, and
I've never worked out more in my life than I did during COVID. Like,
oh no,
mornings
you really
I'd wake
did.
up, I'd go on a run. Dad would bike with me, and I think he would honestly take Annie sometimes too. Annie's good about riding next to the bike.
Yeah,
take Annie. I would go on a run, and then I'd go hit balls at Timaquana. Like, I'd go play some tennis. We would do a lot of garage workouts. Like, my friends and I would do Zooms and work out with each other. Like, I worked out so much, and I also cooked so much. Like, I was so bored that I was like,
that was your clean eating era.
That was also my clean eating era. But I made fried chicken sandwiches.
You did. Those were so good.
Those were good. I made Kelsey a birthday cake. That was so good.
That was really good.
We were making margs and then playing
mahjong
on the street. We played mahjong. Like, we did so much.
Yeah. It was so full and so fun. But there was a while there where I literally called it my mission is for you not to say, I'm bored in a day. I was like, I'm going to fill it with as many activities back to back as possible. So you couldn't say, ugh, I'm bored.
I know. But like, when you don't work, like, you don't want to be on your phone all day, but like, I mean, I did puzzles, but like, I didn't even have really classes. Like, I had nothing to fill my time.
Well, and it was also such a weird time because you couldn't be out and about with people. Yeah. So it's not just like you're not working, but you also like are not technically supposed to be around big groups or things aren't open. Like, you can't go sit at a restaurant.
So I think cooking helped. I remember making some type of treat and I dropped some off for Hannah and she brought them inside and Hannah was like, are those safe to eat? Like, she goes, she's not sick. I'm like, I'm good, not sick. Like, Hannah cooked a lot too. Like, just going back and forth.
Y'all did a lot of activities together too.
Yeah, we did. We spent a lot of time together.
Was that the time?
I didn't have jobs.
When you looked at each other and you were like, so when you shower, you're like, we've hit way too many.
We had spent so much time together. I mean, we were like, we had a routine. It was literally like, whose house you want to hang out at? Okay. We'd go to Hannah's house. We would hang out for a bit, watch some TV. We got really into Below Deck. We're watching some TV. We'd go work out. We'd come back. We'd make lunch. We'd take a nap. We'd wake up. We'd watch some TV. I think we like would make desserts. We had a little cookie. And then we'd hang out. Maybe get in the pool a little bit. And then, like, parents were wrapping up work. We'd be like, all right, let's do it again tomorrow. Your house or mine. And we did that consistently for like multiple weeks. And we were at lunch one day and I was like, so what do you want to talk about? Like, we literally had run out of everything to talk about. And I was like, what's your shower routine? I'm like, oh my God. And then we proceeded to go through. So I get in the shower which way do you face? Oh, I face this way. Which way do you face? And then I washed my hair. We went through the whole routine. I found out that Hannah washed her face first, and I was like, you gotta change that. That's weird. So might need to follow up. Does Hannah still wash her face first?
We'll ask her.
Yeah.
I feel like no.
She can comment on the Instagram.
So true. Yeah.
That's how we'll know she listened.
Wow. Vibe check.
Vibe check.
But that summer was so fun.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, it was like scary in some ways, of course, but like it was also
it was very simple. Life seemed very simple. Like everyone was outside. Everyone was like not as stressed about. I mean, stressed about other things, but not super stressed about work. Like offices and companies were very understanding. I mean, not that I worked, but like from what I've heard, it's great. Simple times.
And then that transitioned into you staying in Jax, which is not what you had planned on.
Yeah, because I went to Athens for like a month and stayed with the Meeks.
Yeah.
And was like trying to find a job in Atlanta because I had found a job possibly in St. Pete. Yeah. I had found a job in Atlanta, but both fell through. And then came back to Jacksonville and honestly had so much fun with my friends. I was like, I don't really want to leave yet.
Yeah.
So got a job there. And I had so much fun living with Hannah and Emily. The best memories.
Yeah.
Making Jacksonville like my own and not the town that I grew up in.
Right.
Being with you. Like we spent so much time together.
Yeah.
It was just such a blessing.
That first house on Donald Street, how is it still standing?
Donald Street. The cats, the fleas, the everything.
You were in the elements in that place. And y'all also added a lot to it as well.
Good spot.
Yeah.
Great house.
Yeah. Great place to start.
Yeah. Such a fun first house.
Yeah. And then you moved to the beach, which was so fun because we were like, we have a in-town house and a beach house.
Yeah. Moving to the beach was, I think, one of our best decisions. So much fun. Love our little house on Silver Lakes.
Yeah.
So close to the beach. I mean, it could not have been a more perfect house.
Yeah. What do you feel like you learned in staying in Jacksonville that if you had left would have been so different? Or like, what do you appreciate about that season of being home?
I think a lot of just, I don't know, like time with friends. Like I feel like got to be really good friends with Kelsey. Like I don't think I would have ever had that. And like met people through the gym. Like I loved going to the gym of like just making Jacksonville my own and knowing like I've lived in this city once. I said I didn't want to come back, but I'm here. I'm going to make the most of it. Mm-hmm. And just making like different memories with Hannah and Emily of like living together. Like the three of us have always been like best friends, but we'd never lived together.
Which is so funny.
And just like being an adult and just, I don't know, like I'm so happy I stayed in Jacksonville because like you said, I've matured so much. I've grown so much. And I think Jacksonville was crucial to that.
Yeah, I do too. It allows you, like, you grow in other places because you're not having to figure out so much.
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that are just guarantees.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But there are new places too. Like I had really never been to Orsay or like Orsay happy hour. And like now that you have a paycheck, like you can do things.
Yeah. It's so fun in that element.
Yeah. Like Riverside Liquors or going out to Royal Palms, like all of those things. Like I've never, like some of my best memories still today are like at all those places that like if I never was there, like I feel like those are all the memories that we laugh about, we love.
Yeah. I think so too. I think so much of growing up here, you're kind of like, it's just school and what's attached to school. Yeah. So I felt that too moving back, where the area I lived in, the places I went all the time, I loved how we grew up. And there was a lot like, oh, we know the local deli and sandwich shop that maybe not everyone went to because they just went to Firehouse or whatever, like, which is a dumb example. But just like we had a lot of the like local neighborhood stuff growing up, which I really appreciate. But coming back, being old enough, making a paycheck, all that stuff, like we have so much of our own places and events and routines and all that stuff that it felt like a completely different city. Yeah. Different people, all the above.
Exactly. So much fun.
Yeah. What was your
great?
It is.
So much fun.
What is when did you feel like it was kind of the turning point for you for wanting to move and have a new adventure?
I don't know. I think there were a lot of different circumstances of like, I've always said I wanted to do it, but I didn't really know ever how it would. Like, I think I'd always said I wanted to, but I wasn't really putting in plans to do it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like right thing fell into my lap, right place, right time. Like timing couldn't have been more perfect. Of like, Emma's said, I'm gonna move. Like, what are your thoughts on coming with me? Like, I had never thought of it before. Like, maybe I had of like, oh, like maybe Emma moves. Like, we've always said we wanted to live together. Like, that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
But our leases were up at the same time. Like, I felt like it felt right. Just something like in me was like, this seems like it's the right place,
Aligning.
right time. Yeah. Things with my job, I was like, I'm not, because I loved my job. I loved working with all of those people. Like, I had so much fun, but I kind of felt a shift in that of like switching roles and like not quite continuing on the way that I had originally thought. That I think was also a good turning point of like, okay, I'm not as attached as I thought I was. Like, I could be willing to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. It just kind of felt like
you felt the shift happening.
Yeah. In all aspects. I mean, not like friends. Like, I didn't feel like I was like, I'm losing friends here, so I have to leave. Like, I still think
right.
my best friends are my best friends, but like there was something that shifted that was like, okay, I think I can do this.
Yeah. What has it been like, do you think, or like what have you learned about yourself in moving to a new city and starting in a new place? Because you also have a new job, all the above.
Yeah. I've really tried to be like, just say yes to everything, which has been really great, I think, in moving. Like, if I'm invited to something and like I really don't know that many people, but like, what else am I gonna do? Like, just go. Like, if you're not having fun, you can leave.
Right.
Or just like hearing like, oh, a friend of a friend of a friend, you should meet up. Like, okay, sure. Like, I think I've noticed. I think it's that adventure side of me that I've always loved is just really coming out. Yeah. Like, I was very comfortable in Jacksonville, which was great. Yeah. Like, I moved to New York, didn't know either of my roommates.
Right.
And I had a great time and it was so much fun and I was able to do it. And it was just like putting myself out there. Like, yeah, I knew a couple of girls from FSU there, but like all of my friends ended up being from Georgia, like from my roommates. And like, I didn't know any of them until that summer. So I think it was just, I think moving, I kind of realized like, I can be adventurous and just kind of go with the flow, try new things.
Yeah. Kind of lean into that side of your personality that doesn't need a plan.
Or like, I feel like too, I was so worried because Emma was traveling so much. I was like, oh my gosh, like the one person I know here is not even going to be here. And I never had a weekend where I wasn't doing something when Emma wasn't here. Like, I always found a plan. I always made something and I've had like such great experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. We have learned a lot about what it's like for our relationship to change in not living in the same city, because we did that obviously through college, but we're not that far. And we had a lot of intense circumstances around those seasons too.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's been a learning curve for us of like, because it was such the gift of being sisters who are also friends is so much of our friends and activities and all that just always overlapped with what we were doing when we lived in the same city. It was just an automatic, like even y'all going to the gym in San Marco, you'd pop over after work or just like little things where we'd come home and you might be on our couch because you worked a half day and then you were going to the gym, or like we just like Friday night was like, what are we up to? What are we doing?
Yeah. That's definitely been an adjustment.
Yeah. So carving out like intentional stuff, or like, I know we've each had reminders of like, hey, I need you to call me, or like, how do we set aside time?
Yeah. Which is helpful. I think I'm very forgetful about some of those things. Like, that's just my personality. Like, I don't remember like, hey, check in, or like sometimes I'll just call when I have something to talk about because that's just the way I operate. But like, I know you like to chit chat more. So, or like you just want to talk about your day or just another check-in.
As if I'm sitting at dinner and only eating 2 bites.
Which I think has been good for us and good with any of my friendships of like a reminder that like just to check in, like just if I don't call, like
put in the work.
You call. Yeah. Like, like if there's a reason I can't answer, like I'll text you, like there's a reason I can't answer and I'll be sure to call later. Like just that open communication between the two of us of like, just keep trying.
Yeah. one thing that I think we've grown a ton in, just as each of us has grown in our faith in different ways and also grown in our hope and desire for things, is I love our morning prayers now, which was your
Yes.
idea.
It was my idea. I
Yeah.
really think moving too has like shifted my perspective and just my faith. Like I feel like I've really leaned into a lot of the stuff,
Mm.
like reading like you got me a Bible, like moving. I just feel like this is kind of like the start of something so different that I wasn't really doing in Jacksonville.
Mm.
So I've been leaning in more to faith, reading my Bible, praying through things, talking about stuff with you that like normally I don't feel like we really talked about. Like we would, but like I would just kind of ask you questions, be like, yeah, and I still do that. But
it had to be fully your own.
It had to be fully my own, and I had to, I think, get there myself. And I think moving was a great way to just say like, I don't have all the answers. And I think Laura was really good at reminding me, but like, you can't worry about what's not happened yet. All you can do is just pray about it.
Yeah.
So I think that really put it in perspective for me of like I said, my weekends, like I would pray like, I don't know what I'm doing this weekend and this leaving. Like, I need a plan. I need something. And I would just pray about that. And it was, the Lord always provided. Like I always had a plan. Or if I did it, just because I didn't want to do anything. Like, and I think growing more and more and reading my Bible and not having a full church here or trying different stuff, like Emma and I are able to see what we like, what we don't like, and kind of just
what you're really searching for.
Yeah, what we're really searching for and continuing to grow in that. And I think our daily prayers have helped. I think you and I are so ready for change. We're so ready for something different. And we're leaning into what our mom taught us.
Yeah. Yeah. She used to do our basket prayers growing up where she would form her hands in a cup and we would put all of our cares and things we were worried about and then we'd lift them up. And we did that for a while too. We would text about what our, like, I guess 2021, 2022 text, like, what are our basket prayers? Like, what do we need to give up? What do we need to let go of?
I don't feel like that lasted very long, but this has lasted a while.
Oh yeah, no, this one really has, which it makes me laugh because weren't you the one who, yes, our faith has grown. We've matured. I remember you being the one that was like, I think we should pray every morning. Like we're praying for
change in our lives,
relationships, whatever. So let's just talk every morning before work. We can catch up and pray. So why don't you go ahead and pray?
Yeah. I'm getting to be maybe once, maybe twice a week prayer.
We're going to stretch you to twice a week.
Ellie mainly takes the majority of those, but I will say after my conference, feeling good about prayer, you
can lead tomorrow's.
Maybe.
This is how it goes every time.
I know, yours are just so good. I know there's not a good prayer, but yours are good.
Well, you've grown a lot.
Sister knows how to pray. I have grown a lot.
Mom taught me. I have
grown a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's one of my favorite things now is that we do that every morning.
Yeah. It's a good start to our day, even though some days we're like, I don't feel like doing this.
No, I know.
Or some days we're mad at each other.
Yeah. We've definitely had those experiences.
I don't really have it in me, but I just pray for X, Y, and Z. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Exactly. We're like, yep, I'm on my way to work. Nope. Can't talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's pray real quick. But we still show up.
And
we've been consistent. Important. Yeah. I feel like since the fall.
Yeah. Since at least October, because I started my new job very end of September. And it was like on my way to work, we were doing that.
Oh yeah.
And I was in my house. So it was after September. I want to say it was probably like October.
Maybe after New York when we were just trying to like.
Yeah. I think it was probably October.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I'm excited to see where things grow and continue as we.
You and me both. But I will say, I know our prayers don't go unheard.
Yeah.
I know that he is good. I know that he is faithful.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't look like what we thought it would look like, but it's going to turn out even better than we imagined.
Yes. Yes. He writes better stories than we could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amen.
Sometimes I believe that. Most of the time I believe that.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
does. He does.
A few times I'm scratching my head like,
Yeah.
hmm.
But we choose to believe it
I
even
choose to
when
believe it,
we don't
even when
feel
it's
it.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on the subject of story, and because this is such a fun episode, we'll have you back to be a fourth time and to talk
Fourth
about the deep
timer.
stuff because I'm gonna force you to do it at some point.
I think I'm gonna still need therapy before I go into all that deep stuff.
Okay, well then start calling someone because or I'll stand in as your therapist during this.
No one would be able to hear a word out of me.
Why?
Probably just be crying.
Oh,
No one wants
yeah.
to hear that.
Well, not that they don't want to hear it, but they would be concerned probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, then zooming back out, talking about story, what is the one word you would choose to describe the current chapter of your story?
I'm trying to remember what I said the last time. And I know exactly what I said, so I'm trying to think of something different.
Well, if it's still true, that's fine.
I know. You and Madeline said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm very hopeful.
Okay, love.
Right now, that was not my same answer.
No.
But I'm feeling really hopeful. I'm feeling really good about this year. And new things, new places, new adventures, new travels.
New year.
New year. I'm just hopefully new boo at some point, you know? I'm just feeling really hopeful for this year and all that's to come. And I know we're going to have a lot of answered prayers this year.
All right.
So
I'm claiming
feeling hopeful.
Okay. I'm claiming it.
Me too.
Claiming it. Well, I love you. Thank you so
Love
much for
you.
doing this again. This
Of
is so
course.
fun.
So fun. I think the people are really going to like this.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You give the people what they want. And
Yeah.
I get to see you in like 2 weeks.
I know.
No.
We got big plans. No, like in a month.
A month.
I got to book
Yeah.
my flight.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a lot of flights to book.
I do.
Gosh, listening back to this makes me miss her that much more. It's been so different to not be in the same city, but I'm so thankful for the way it has grown our relationship to find new ways to stay connected. Mary Claire really has grown and matured in countless ways over the years, but she still maintains a lightheartedness and dependability that is so refreshing. She's kind, she's generous, she's funny, and I'm just so proud to be her sister. I really hope you loved listening to these two sisters chit-chat. Please follow Mary Claire on Instagram at @MCBoline or on LinkedIn via the links in the show notes. I'd also love for you to check out at Share Your Story with Ellie on Instagram for evidence of those St. Thomas and codependence pictures, because I promise you do not want to miss them. Please follow the show and me on Instagram, and I'd love for you to join the conversation and describe how these episodes are impacting you. It also means so much to me when you rate, review, subscribe, and share this show. So if you can, send to a friend or share to your story wherever you listen to this podcast to help this show grow. Thanks so much for tuning in today for my conversation with Mary Claire. Talk to you on Thursday.